Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lucky Dog Sim Racing Gen 6 Series Tuesdays here at the magnificent classic configuration for Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and are looking forward to a Happy New Year. Got 100 laps here for you at Atlanta. Got a pretty full field for you. Let's go ahead and go through your starting lineup. Starting on the pole, we have the 78 of Gary Slapinski. To his outside, the number 429 of Paul Witt in the second place. Starting in third, we have the 777 of Michael Pegg. Starting fourth, we have the 23 of Mr. Ray Zerkut. Starting fifth, we have the 50 of Todd Willis. Starting sixth, we have the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. Starting seventh, we have the 4 of Larry Eddy. Eighth will be the 92 of Shane Bowie. In ninth, we have the 44 of Jacob Edson, and his outside in 10th, the 33 of Gary Ragland. Starting 11th will be the 75 of William McKellar, but that's me, just running some test laps, so... Actually, starting 11th will be the number 3 of Kendall Kraft. Starting 12th will be the 43 of Sandy Curtis. Starting 13th will be the 59 of Ralph Blair. 14th, the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. Starting 15th, the 129 of Kim Kraus. Starting 16th, the 00 of Thomas Holder. 17th will be the 89 of Randolph Richard. 18th will be the 111 of John Henderson. And 19th will be the 53 of Chris Hogue. I believe the 429 has an end-of-line penalty that he is serving, so he will be starting, while he is qualified second, he'll be starting in the rear, so that's going to shuffle the field a little bit as Gary Sapinski follows the pace car around towards the start-finish line. Pace car is off. So we go ahead and we watch. Green flag is in the air here at Atlanta. Lap 1 of 100. Gary Sapinski gets an excellent jump. Looks like he is able to clear the 23 before they make it to turn 2. He's got the 777 right there behind him. Those two worked so well together. Michael Pegg giving that big arrow push to Gary Sapinski going down the backstretch. More so, I think, than the trucks, because we ran the trucks here on Thursday last week. I think more so than the trucks, the draft here in these cars is so important, especially with the way these cars seem to just hit a wall of air the closer and closer you get to the car ahead of you. Being able to work that air, negotiate it, that's what's going to separate. Oh, someone gets loose there. Is that the 33? That is not the 33. Who is that? Take a look back here. Everyone keeps it going straight. Paul Witt's okay, so not him. Not certain who that was. I'm getting my ear that that was the 429. He kept it going straight. It's probably just pushing it a little too hard there on the bottom. See what that does to his tires. That big slide will not help the right rear at all. Heading back to the lead here, we're talking about having, as Michael Pegg has passed Gary Sapinski for the lead, being able to negotiate that dirty air is what's going to really determine the longevity of a lot of these cars. We got 54 laps of fuel in these cars, so we can make it well past halfway. Fuel window open around lap 45, 46, depending on how you're able to save, and will be open all the way to lap 54 or 55 again until... So people are going to have to come down pit road based also on, again, how well you're able to save. If you're able to get in the draft to someone, have them pull you along, you're able to save a little more gas than, say, someone like Michael Pegg, who is out front leading this pack. But the more cars ahead of you you get, the more dirty air you're going to have. You're going to have to adjust your line. Michael Pegg out in front, able to run the line that he wants exactly. Gary Sapinski behind him, committed to that bottom lane. But if you look at the folks behind him, the 23 running a higher lane. The 50 looking for some air behind those two. And then you've got the 92 of Shane Bowie here, also running the bottom, trying to take advantage of that little break between himself and the car ahead of him as he goes for a pass on the outside of Todd Willis. There's a lot of speed up there at the top, but it's going to take a while for these tires to really start wearing out. I think eventually as we go, the top lane will be where you're going to have to go to make a lot of your passes. But as for right now, these cars are running however you want, just about every lane. Maybe a little squirrely on the bottom, but a lot of speed can be found down there. This 50 is now under attack from the, looks to be the 4, Larry Eddy. Has a little bit shallow of an exit. Takes it through the grass a little bit. Maybe that car just a little bit out of sorts. Keeps going all right as he has the 129 of Kim Kraus working to his outside. Kim got a pretty good run there. Was able to clear the 4 pretty easy. And this is kind of maybe what we were talking about a little bit. The 4 not able to hold that momentum that he needed on the bottom, and that's put him back here fighting with the 92, who appears to have lost a couple positions. But the 4 tried passing or protecting the position from the 129 there on the bottom, and that did not do him any good as we see the 78 go back past the 777. Gary Sapinski working that high line. Benefit of working that high line, you know, especially on fresh tires, you can just keep that gas matted to the floor, not have to lift, whereas the bottom you have to do a little bit of throttle control to keep that car from going sideways on you. As he completes that pass and starts running more towards the middle. Oh, it's car in the wall. Everything looks okay. Ray here just scraped the wall a little bit, and that's with the shape of the walls here in Atlanta. We expect to see more than a few people get a little bit of a stripe here, especially going through turn 2. If you're running the top lane, it's got that kick out on the wall. If you're not paying attention, it'll just reach out and bite you, just right there in the middle of turn 2. You see most folks keeping it well down off the wall. They know that also. Right there before that NASCAR Cup sign in turn 2 is where that bump is. So almost 3 wide. Kim Kraus had a thought of maybe diving to the inside of Ray Zerkut, decided against it. That's going to drop him back behind the 4 of Larry Eddy. All this happening right in front of the 44 of Jacob Edson. Jacob, one of the guys who seems to prefer on a lot of tracks to run right up there towards the top of the track. Seems, oh, 129 around, hits the wall. Looks like he took the 23 with him. 23's damaged terminals. He went ahead and called for a tow truck. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at that. So go ahead and watch. Kim Kraus got a fantastic run here on the outside, just ripping the boards. I don't know if that was net code, but looked like the 129 bounced off the wall. We'll go back and we'll check that again from our friend the Chopper. It looked like a little bit of net code there. You saw the front end of the 129 dart to the right. Just a little bit, not too crazy. That's not the worst net code we've seen. So we'll go ahead and we'll ride along with Kim here. He's keeping it well in line. 23 gives him space. That's a little bit of net code right there. That is unfortunate. So go ahead and we'll head back live. It's unfortunate for both of those drivers. I think that's effectively going to put Kim Kraus close to a lap down. He's showing currently 20 seconds behind the leader. So if he has damage, he might be keeping it out, just ride it out until that pit window opens. Yeah, he has not brought down pit road. There's a fair amount of damage to that car. So you want to talk about a guy hoping for a caution. Kim here will be right at the top of the list. We head back to the front. Gary Sapinski able to pull out a 1 second lead here over Michael Pegg. Michael got his hands full with a rearview mirror of Todd Willis. Todd seeming more at home running up there on the top. Todd's getting fantastic runs there on the exit, but you can see how that shorter distance down there on the bottom is really helping Michael. He really opens it up there on corner entry all the way through the middle, and then right there towards corner exit, that's where Todd's momentum from a higher line really starts coming into play. If he's able to get side by side with Michael by corner entry, he should be looking at maybe completing that pass. The longer these two fight side by side, the further away that 78 is going to get, and the closer that 57 to Jeff Gilmore is going to get. Jeff Gilmore, no slouch, especially at a track like Atlanta, and he is bringing the 44 McDonald's car of Jacob Edson with him. These two guys, Jeff Gilmore started 6th, Jacob started 9th, and they are moving their way forward. Todd Willis is able to make that pass on Michael Pegg. Todd's showing a lot of speed here in the early running. He was starting in the 5th position, is up to 2nd place. He's just close enough to Gary Sapinski that should be able to sniff Gary's draft. But unfortunately for him, everyone behind him is in prime drafting position on him, so he's probably not going to be able to get away from these guys at any appreciable rate. See the 777 on Michael Pegg just following the 50. Todd Willis there around the top. See if he can get that pull. And this is exactly what we mentioned. 44 got past the 57. He is right there, sticking around the outside, getting that pull from the 50. He came with Michael Pegg right up to these guys. 129 to Kim Krause, ducks it down pit road, gets it out of the way. So he'll be taking his fast repair to get that car fixed. Excellent run from these guys. The 50 just hanging it out there on the outside. And what that's doing, that's stopping Michael Pegg from getting that exit that he needs on the bottom line to keep that momentum. We also have to bear in mind in the truck race on Thursday, the bottom line was the line that prevailed. Jacob Edson looking to the bottom of Todd Willis going towards the entrance turn 1. He's not going to want to be beside Todd for long. If he can clear him here, slide up in front of him, take the momentum away from the top, he'll be doing pretty good. And that's exactly what he does. As Jeff Gilmore follows Todd there around the top. These three, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. With Michael Pegg doing his best to challenge down there on the bottom, but he's sort of stuck. Now he's fallen into the clutches of the 4 of Larry Eddy. Larry looking for a pass on the bottom, going to force Michael higher up on the track. Looks like Larry had to get out of it a little bit for the 57 coming down the track, taking the air off his nose. That's going to stop him from being able to get up and get past Michael. He's now running in the 5th position. I was going to say, we remember that the truck race on Thursday last week, the bottom line was the line that prevailed most of the night. Like if you got underneath someone, it was hard to pass, but if you could get down there and run there all night long, you were one of the faster cars, faster trucks all night. Jacob Edson gets past the 50. It looks like Todd Willis has a little bit of a connection issue, blinks out there, pops back in, clear the 57. 57 pushing Todd Willis through these corners. It's not something you usually see here at a 1.5 miles. You usually see folks running different lanes to try and preserve their tire life. Jeff Gilmore here, committed to that top lane, does not want to run the bottom unless he's trying to pass Todd Willis. Todd gets a little sideways there. Advantage 57 going into turn 3. He's able to clear, get that slide job done. Sets his sights on the 44, who himself is looking forward So that black car up there, so that gray car up there, the 78 of Gary Slipinski. See if he can track him down. Gary just absolutely enjoying these guys running as hard as they are back there. So he's running down there towards that white line. You can hear the amount of throttle control he's got, not wanting to overcook those tires. So he slides gently down the hill, gently back up the hill. Not wanting to wear out those tires. Jacob Edson, though, just hauling the mail there around the top. 57 right on his rear bumper. Jeff Gilmore not waiting around. He's trying to help these guys get up there towards the leader. Still going for it. Jacob Edson opting, I think, for a little bit of a different line. I'm wondering if the air on the back of that, coming off the back of that car with the 57 pushing him through the corners, maybe upsetting the 44 a little bit. Seems to slow down a little bit in the corners, like so much, I mean, I won't say so much, but a little bit. They've lost half a second to Gary Slipinski. They were 2 seconds back. They're now 2.5, 2.4 now. Gotta wonder if that air coming off the back of that car is it tightening it? Is it making it loose? I'd almost imagine that it's loosening that car up, taking the downforce off the rear spoiler. Gary Slipinski still enjoying all this, just scooting away. He's got at least another 20 laps before he brings it down pit road. 20 laps brings to lap 50, exactly halfway. And it's all up to him how he wants to run it. Does he want to short pit it and see if he can make up some extra time on these guys while their tires are extra worn? Does he want to run it a little longer and have fresher tires towards the end? The interesting thing about pit strategy, it's all gambling. You don't know it's the right choice until the last lap. Let's take a look back here to the battle for 5th place. Larry Eddy, Michael Pegg still fighting side by side. They were nose to tail there for a while. Michael able to get past the 4. These two looking like maybe they're swapping that 5th position back and forth. And while it's probably good fun in the car there fighting for this position, the leader there, Gary Slipinski, 5 seconds ahead of him. But more importantly, Todd Willis, that 4th place car, over 2 seconds ahead of him. So whoever's in front of this, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to pull the speed they need unless they can work together. Michael Pegg looking like he's really favoring that high side. This is odd for Michael. Michael's more of a down on the white line kind of driver instead of up there against the wall. We've seen him run a few races up there around the wall to great effect. So very adaptable driver, but everyone has their own preferred lane. Larry Eddy, for instance, preferring that bottom line, it seems, most of the night. When we take a look back to the 43 of Sandy Curtis, Sandy finding a lot of speed up there around the top. He's currently running in the 7th position, started 13th, so he's made up 6 positions since the start of this race. Seems to be enjoying a fair amount of success there up along the top. He's bringing the 59 of Ralph Blair with him right there around the top. Ralph getting a nice good pull from the 43. See, he's running about a lane down from Sandy, trying to keep a little bit of air on that nose. As he dives it to the bottom, look like maybe he's thinking of a pass. Should be able to draw alongside the 43, but I don't know that he's got the momentum to make that slide job work. Has a very shallow exit. That's going to hurt his momentum coming down the front stretch. It'll hurt his entry going into turn 1. It's another shallow entry, not quite clear. I mean, he looks just barely clear, but I don't know if he'll be clear. Sandy on corner exit does not look like it. These two running very hard. The longer these two are running side by side, the more worn their tires are going to get. So you got to wonder who's going to give. It looks like the 59 is able to clear the 43, but the 43 gets a good run there along the outside, goes right back at it going into turn one. Looks like when Sandy's cleared by Ralph, Ralph only clears him by just a little bit. Finally gets him there off turn two. So we'll head back to front here. Jacob Edson not able to close any kind of time on Gary Sapinski. Gary 3.4 seconds ahead. And his help in the 57, Jeff Gilmore. Jeff's dropped back about almost a second off of Jacob. Back into the clutches of Todd Willis in that green number 50 car. Maybe a little contact there with the wall from the 57. These 36 laps on these tires. These tires are getting very warm and very worn. Running the top is only going to get harder and harder and harder, especially with the way these cars seem to drive off the right side tires, especially the right rear when you're running up there along the top. Car typically, especially at a bumpy track like Atlanta, will just start to show looser and looser and looser. Take a second to go ahead and hop back to our leader. We'll go ahead and we'll watch a little bit from his gearbox cam. The gap that he's already built there on the 44 of Jacob Edson. Jacob's only just entering turn 3 now. Gary Sapinski looking at exiting turn 4. Jacob exiting 4, Gary across the start-finish line. That is a massive lead that Gary has been able to build. That's the benefit of having that clean air. You're able to run this track however you want. Really preserves the tires. We have a cycle of green flag pit stops starting. It's a 3 of Kendall Kraft and the 89 of Randolph Richard come down pit road. 4 tires and fuel for both of these cars. Kendall's still in his pit box though, probably repairing some damage. Hitting that right side against the wall here hurts so much. Take a look back. Jacob Edson started 9th, running 2nd. Still committed to that outside. He had to do a lot of work to get through the field, going from 9th to 2nd. And so you know with all the fighting he had to do, those right side tires are not feeling the best. So he's just getting as much as he can out of this car over the next, looking at our lap counter, probably here for the next maybe 9 laps. But you know, if Jacob Edson comes down pit road, that's going to give Gary Sapinski something to think about, because you don't want to be giving up a whole lot of time to someone as fast as this 44 car here. Looking back to 50 of Todd Willis, getting passed by the 429 of Paul Witt. Paul currently showing 15th position, 5 laps down. Looks like he had some technical problems. Had to bring down pit road early on. Wonder if that slide he had earlier may have been a symptom of that. Since he's come out, he's been running fairly quickly. He's actually running faster than the leader. It was unfortunate for him that he had to bring it down pit road. Probably would be up there fighting with Gary, Michael, and Jacob. Take a second to look through our field a little bit. The 57 of Jeff Gilmore sitting comfortably in 4th place, doing his best to not let Todd Willis get too far ahead of him. They're almost 2 seconds between the two of them. You can see Todd there just exiting turn 2. You also have the 59 of Ralph Blair, about a second, little more than a second back from Jeff Gilmore, just doing what he can to do the same thing, not wanting Jeff to get too far away. Now, if we really want to look at something, here's something that's Larry Eddy started 7th, running 6th, been consistently running around here all race. He's dropped 11 seconds back. That's quite a ways to have fallen back. But here's what's crazy. Behind him, the 777 of Michael Pegg. Started 3rd, currently running 7th. He is under fire from the 43 of Sandy Curtis and the 33 of Gary Ragland. Car does not seem to be handling the way that he wants it to handle. Michael, here our winner on Thursday night here at Atlanta. Car looks like maybe it's running a lot tighter than we would have expected. Just seems to have issues getting it to commit to the lane that he wants it to run in. As Gary Ragland goes for a look there on the bottom, is able to draw alongside. He's able to clear Michael just a little bit, should be able to slide up ahead of him going here into turn 1. Gary Ragland running that bottom. Wonder if all that side-by-side action that Michael had before really took its toll on his right sides. He should be in the pit window this time. This is likely if he wants to pit early, this is like the best time for him to pit. If he doesn't want to pit early, he can go back around again, lets the 43 go. Michael Pegg brings it down pit road, locks him up, squeals the tires a little bit. Looks like he made pit speed. So he comes down to get 4 tires and fuel. 78 of Gary Slapinski going by. So put the 777 a lap down. This should be the start right here with Michael Pegg of our one scheduled green flag stop that each of these guys have. 33 of Gary Ragland, bring it down pit road, almost missed it, is able to get on pit road. 43 of Sandy Curtis comes with him. Both these guys saw Michael Pegg pit. They don't want him to get too far out ahead, so they're going to come down. They're going to take their service. 78 of Gary Slapinski knows that he doesn't have to pit yet. He can run this thing all the way out to lap 54, 55, 56. Not certain what his fuel number's looking like, but somewhere around there he'll be able to pit and run fairly comfortably for the rest of the race. Looks like he's still keeping it out there. With the kind of lead he has over second place, it's 7 seconds over Jacob Edson. Jacob, and climbing 7.5 seconds now. Jacob's running in second place. 7 seconds over Jacob Edson. Sorry, 6.5 seconds. Yep. Yeah, 7.5 seconds over Jacob Edson. 14 seconds over Jeff Gilmore. So it looks like, if I was seeing what I'm seeing correctly, the 44 of Jacob Edson opting to bring it down pit road. He knows he's given up a lot of time to the leader out there on the track. He needs those fresh tires to be able to cinch that up. It's 57. Jeff Gilmore comes to pit road. So now the 78's got to start thinking, with all my competition coming to pit road, how long do I want to stay out here? He has been by far the fastest car on the track. Second place has been inherited by Larry Eddy. Number 4, he's currently 19 seconds behind and growing. Number 4 decides to bring it down pit road. Makes pit road speed. Gary Slapinski bringing it down pit road himself. Everyone else is pitted, locks him up. Hopefully he made pit road speed there. He should have. So everyone starts the campaign of unlapping themselves. Second place, this will fall into the 111 of John Henderson. John looking like he decided to keep it out a little bit longer, see if he could get a lap led. So this should give him the lead right here. So that should be an extra point for the 111. Gary Slipinski got his service down and away. Looks like he was able to time this very well. So he's coming off pit road well ahead of who was second place, the 44 of Jacob Edson. Jake will be coming with a full head of steam, but he's just getting off of turn 2. Gary Slipinski's already in the middle of turn 4. Jacob Edson not able to make up the amount of time that he knows he needed to before Gary came down pit road. Gary here should shown scored as your leaders, the 111. John Henderson came down pit road to get his service. He is down and away. The tire wear, especially this worn out track, really has done what it's always done. It's really separated our field out. Clean air and just having that right line seems to be really working out in Gary Slipinski's favor. Gary out here essentially just hot lapping right now, trying to build that lead back up. Jacob Edson doing everything he can to stop Gary from getting too far out ahead. So he started trying running that bottom lane. See if he can get a little bit extra out of the car to maybe catch that 78. So he's got a little bit of help here from the 52, giving him an all right aero push there going down the straightaways. That'll help the two of these guys go a little bit faster. The 52 here wanting to get his lap back. The 44 just wanting to catch the leader. But Gary Slipinski appears that he has checked out. Even with those two working together, he's pulled his lead out to 7 seconds. Now here is what is most impressive. He'd fallen back quite a ways. Michael Pegg currently scored in the 3rd position. He was all the way back, as we saw, fighting around the 7th and 8th. He was the first of our lead lap cars to come down pit road. So he's made up a lot of time on those fresh tires. Now, as that stands, though, his tires are currently sitting about, see if I'm reading my stuff correctly, he's 6 laps older than our leader, Gary Slipinski. Michael's been out 12 laps since his service. He should have enough fuel to make it all the way to the end. But those extra laps on the tires here, I mean, just over 7 laps since Gary Slipinski came down pit road, he's already lost over half a second on his lap times. That's the same kind of thing that Michael Pegg here has been experiencing. Michael Pegg down to just, he's went from about 30.5 to 31.3 just that last time by, and that's a huge amount of time that these tires just really give out the longer these runs go. That's only 13 laps, and he's working on having lost a full second of pace already. And that's something that everyone is going to be experiencing, especially once they get 10, 12, 13, 14 laps on their tires. So he does what he can with the 59 of Ralph Blair just breathing down his neck. We'll go ahead and we'll go back to our leader. We'll do a through the field. Gary Slipinski is challenged by the 111. John Henderson. John looking to get that lap back. John came down pit road 7 laps ago, so just a little bit fresher tires than Gary Slipinski. But Gary, with as far out as he is, 10 seconds over Jacob Edson, does not really need to try and fight the 111 at all. Doesn't need to keep him a lap down. Those two racing side by side would end up costing Gary a lot more time than maybe he's comfortable with. Gary started first, running first, has led the most laps so far this evening. I'm fairly certain that even if he were to lose the lead this lap, he'd still get the extra point for leading the most laps tonight. Very dominant run from the 78. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look back to the 44, Jacob Edson. Jacob here, we'll go ahead and we'll go to a little wider camera. He's already getting caught by Michael Pegg and Ralph Blair. Jacob Edson started 9th, running 2nd. He's had a phenomenal evening so far. Just that 78 of Gary Slipinski has something figured out about this track and checked out. Does not seem whatever Jacob does, Gary just keeps getting further away. The 52, Gary Sr. doing everything he can to help Jacob. Unfortunately, just not enough. Take a second, we'll look back to our 3rd place driver, the 59, Ralph Blair. Ralph Blair here racing very hard with Michael Pegg, was able to clear Michael for the 3rd position last lap. Michael had a look to try and get the 3rd position back, not quite able to complete the pass. 59 of Ralph Blair having a fantastic evening. Ralph started 14th, currently running 3rd. He is definitely our biggest mover so far of the evening. He's got his sights set there on the 44 of Jacob Edson. Ralph and Jacob only 2 laps different in their tires. However, lap times almost identical. That's likely because Ralph has got the benefit of having the 52 ahead of him. He can take advantage of that draft pull, though Ralph had a little bit of a weaker lap that time by, 3 tenths down on Jacob Edson that lap. I wonder if racing side by side with Michael Pegg may have overheated those tires a little bit. He's going to have to take a little while to let them cool down, see if he can get back to trying to reel in the 44. Speaking of the 777, Michael Pegg running here in the 4th position. Started 3rd. It's only fallen back essentially 1 position over the course of the race, but he does have to be careful. He does have the oldest tires. Oh, Michael Pegg hits the wall. Shot down the track. Looked like that car just got real tight on corner exit. He's hit the wall. That's not going to do his car any favors. These Gen 6 cars not as hardy as the trucks. So we take a look here at the right front of the car. Doesn't look like he has any ripples. So that car might be okay, but he bounced way off that wall, got sent down on the inside of the course. And what that's allowing to happen, he lost quite a bit of time there to the 57 of Jeff Gilmore, running in 5th. Jeff started 6th, up to 5th. He's got his sights set there on the 777 of Michael Pegg. His tires 4 laps fresher. I wonder if he's pushing his car as hard as Michael has been. Jeff opting to run more of that low line down there at the bottom of the track. Trying to give himself as much time as possible to correct if something goes wrong with the car before he hits that wall. The Atlanta wall, very, very unforgiving. And we'll go back to the front. See how our leader, Gary Sapinski, is doing. Gary got back past the 111 of John Henderson. John, unfortunately, may have pushed the car a little bit too hard, worn out that right front, not able to carry the speed through the corners that he was when he passed Gary to get his lap back. Currently only 7 cars being shown on the lead lap. The last car being 43 of Sandy Curtis, and you can see there is almost no track left between him and Gary Sapinski. Gary coming very hard through turns 1 and 2. These two running very similar lines. Sandy gets in the wall, keeps it going straight. These two about even on their age of their tires. Sandy just had a little bit of a tight moment there coming off of turn 2 as he goes to the top, lets the 78 Gary Sapinski by, doesn't want to hold him up. Gary's able to clear him there at the exit of 2. Now 6 cars on the lead lap, last being the 4 of Larry Eddy. Larry being a little bit further ahead. Larry just here at the start-finish line. Gary Sapinski just passing pit entrance. So there's a little bit of space between these two. With 26 laps to go. 4 is going to be doing everything he can to keep out ahead of Gary Sapinski. We mentioned it before, but finishing all 100 laps will net you a bonus point. A lot of these guys here in our points chase. And speaking of, we'll go ahead and we'll get a quick look at the points. Leading the points here in the Gen 6 series, we got the 777 of Michael Pegg. The second, we have the 59 of Ralph Blair. Mike currently running 4th. Ralph currently running 3rd on the track. Gary Sapinski is 3rd in the points, currently our race leader. He will have a bunch of bonus points coming his way. He's got the pole award, lap led, most laps led. So long as he finishes the race without any incident points, that'll be another. And will likely, but I don't want to jinx it, so knock on wood, the extra bonus point for finishing all 100 laps. I do believe that is the maximum amount of points, bonus points you can get, not counting the points for the race win. We'll go ahead and continue down a little bit. Tied for 4th, we have the 44 of Jacob Edson and the 89 of Randolph Richard. Both these guys not quite having the night they want. Randolph currently running 11th. Jacob Edson, he's running 2nd, but not able to get any closer really to Gary Sapinski, currently sitting 16 seconds back. On 6th place, we got the 43 is Sandy Curtis. 7 is the 66 of Colton Manich. 8, the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. In 9th is the 91 of Joel Guy, and in 10th is the 50 of Todd Willis. Overall, a strong running from all of our over the course of the season for all of our championship drivers. Gary Sapinski has pulled his lead over the 44 now to 15 seconds. I think it'd be safe to say here with 22 laps to go, this is definitely Gary's race to lose. It is half a track between him and the 44. 44 under fire still, not as much as he was, but still under fire from the 59, Ralph Blair. And these 3 have scooted away from the 777 of Michael Pegg. Gotta think something is not quite right with that car, as he's running fourth, 22 seconds back. Just doing everything he can to find some sort of speed and consistency out of that car. Unfortunately for Michael, not going in the direction he wants to be going. They're sitting about a second and a half apart, second and third, but this is the battle for second. It looks like the longer this goes, the misclicked, wrong number. The 59 of Jacob Edson seems to be, 59 of Ralph Blair just seems to be losing a lot of time to the 44 of Jacob Edson. He gets a decent pull down the backstretch, but going through these corners, it looks like he's having to get out of the throttle a lot more than the 44 is. Let's head back to the 777 of Michael Pegg. He's been caught by the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. Jeff going to be looking to challenge Michael for the fourth position. Michael going back to that middle line to look for some speed. Jeff Gilmore, Michael go down to the bottom. Jeff Gilmore running the top. Looks like he's getting a monster run. Looks like he might be to the right rear. Michael's able to clear him. See what Jeff can do with this momentum. Michael running up towards the high side. Look like maybe he's trying to take that air off the nose of the 57. But Jeff Gilmore able to get alongside Michael Pegg. Gets a nose out in front going out into turn 3. Michael's car just way too tight to run with a lot of speed up there at the top. Looks like maybe he really burned off that right front tire. Not able to hold off Jeff once Jeff got to his inside. Now Jeff Gilmore running that line that Michael Pegg had been running down there towards the bottom. Jeff Gilmore seems to have convincingly taken the fourth position from Michael Pegg. As we take a look back, Ralph Blair really is closed up here on the back of the 44. These two running a very similar line. Not exactly the same, but very similar line. Looks like the 44 got a little out of shape there going down the backstretch after the exit of turn 2. 59 dropping down the track there in turns 3 and 4. Gotta wonder if that's how he's making up all of his time instead of running out there right up against the wall. As he continues working on that lead the 44 has over him. There's about 15 laps left in this race. Plenty of time for him to make that up and make that pass. So go back to the lead, check in on Gary Slapinski. Gary going through turn 2 has the 4 of Larry Eddy in front of him. That is the 6th place car and the last car on the lead lap. We mentioned Larry was going to do everything he could to stay out ahead of Gary Slapinski, but Gary just has that long run pace. Almost superhuman what he's able to do with this car here. Forrest decided he's going to go ahead and he's going to run towards the top. He knows Gary's coming. There's no sense in taking the air off the 78's nose. Let's go ahead and let Gary go by. Very respectful driving there from Larry Eddy. As that goes ahead and puts only 5 cars on the lead lap. And now who's sweating bullets? Just a turn ahead, the 777 of Michael Pegg. 12 laps left in this race. as much time as he's lost over the course of this run. You know, I thought Larry Eddy was going to be able to keep out ahead of the 78, not go a lap down. I was definitely wrong. I think Michael Pegg only stays on the lead lap and Gary Slapinski lets him. There's so much speed in that 78 car. We'll come back to this. The 59, Ralph Blair, has lost about 3/10 of a second on the 44. Jacob Edson started running more towards the bottom here, getting a little better corner arc, trying to make up as much time as he could. Like I was mentioning, 78 right there with the 777. Pegg moves up the track, lets Gary Slapinski go. Gary just checked out, 17 seconds ahead of second place 44 Jacob Edson. Like we mentioned, that was half a lap ago the last time we mentioned it. Now it's just a little bit more than half a lap as Gary sets his sight to try and put the 57 or Jeff Gilmore a lap down. Jeff here sitting 28 seconds back, or probably more accurately, about 2-3 seconds ahead. 7 laps left in this race. He might be able to hold Gary off. The difference in lap times, though, that's where the difference can be made up. Jeff Gilmore running half a second slower a lap than our leader. So he may need a little bit of a miracle to be able to stay on the lead lap. Here's Slapinski actually putting on a clinic. Out of 19 drivers, only 4 are currently on the lead lap. I'm thinking the other drivers might be thinking they need to petition the admins to take that car out to the hauler to see what he's running. Must be nitrous in that car. Of course, these cars are all running fixed setups. I'm just playing Gary Slapinski. Just seems to have landed one of his better tracks. He has just about caught the 57 with 5 laps to go. 59 still working here on the 44. So he seems to lose a bunch of time, then gain a bunch of time, and then lose a bunch of time and gain a bunch of time. Like Jacob Edson runs the line that he's most comfortable with. Then once the 59 starts making up some distance, he goes ahead and throws some dirty air on the front of Ralph's nose. And then when Ralph drops back a little bit, goes back to running the line that he prefers. Trying to force the 59 to run a line he's not comfortable with as Ralph goes. Looks like he's going to try and make that pass. If he can stick on the left rear, give a little bit of a side drive to the 44, not quite able to keep it alongside. He drops back. Going to go for another momentum run there. 59 in the wall. That's going to hurt his momentum there. Keeps it from getting stuck up there. So he goes right back to it. 3 laps will be left when these two come back to the line. Ralph made up a lot of time there through turn 4 just by running that little bit of a lower line. You know, Jacob Edson saw that. Ralph going for that draft run there along the top. Gary Slipinski just came across the line. 2 laps to go. This is the race for second place. If Ralph Blair can just get to that left rear quarter panel, not quite. 44 has him cleared. Ralph just looking like he's not quite able to get that run that he needs. We head back to the lead Gary Slipinski here on the white flag lap. As he comes down the backstretch. Watch the 59 go one more time. Lost a lot of time there to the 44. He's got 4 more corners to make it. But Gary Slipinski brings it across start-finish line in first place. Gary Slipinski is your winner. Ralph Blair still doing what he can to try and catch Jacob Edson. Jacob, though, looks like he's got the run that he needs. Jacob Edson comes home second. Ralph Blair in third. And that'll put Jeff Gilmore, the 57, fourth. Fifth will be the 43 of Sandy Curtis. And that'll be your top 5. As Gary Slipinski brings it to the start-finish line. As he starts to burn it down, we'll see if we can gather your top 3 and talk to him. Well, as it appears, I do not see Jacob Edson on comms, nor do I see Ralph Blair. I do believe the only other 2 drivers to finish on the lead lap, so we'll go ahead and we'll talk to our leader here, Gary Slipinski. Gary, this is William in the booth. You got me?
Yes, go ahead.
Gary, I would have to say if there is one track you have absolutely figured out, it has to be Atlanta Motor Speedway. You put everyone to shame here. Started first, led the most laps, finished first. Walk us through your race. I don't think you were ever really in danger of having that one get away from you.
No, I didn't. I guess a lot of people struggled tonight. I think I might have said something to you earlier. I was practicing and I was so happy. I was like, put a car cover on and I'm happy. I'm ready for the race. And I came out here and it felt great. So, I mean, it was a little tight to me, but you just got to manage that. You know what I mean? You gotta correct for that. And I did. I was actually all over the racetrack today too. I was in the middle. I was low. I was high. I was all over the place. I was experimenting everywhere. The car felt great, no matter where I put it. So actually, I was very happy with the race car tonight. I wish it was a little looser, but you know what? I figured it out, and I was fine with it.
When the second place car came down pit road, I do believe it was Jacob Edson came down pit road. He came down something 4, I think it was 4 or 5 laps sooner than you did. I was wondering, if he was going to be able to make up any kind of time, and I noticed that he maybe ate into your lead a little bit, but then you pulled it back out to like a 17-second lead by the end of the race here. That those little bit fresher tires really didn't seem to matter for him in that short run. What was the secret to keeping that speed that you had all night long?
Well, when he pitted, I was kind of calculating in my head. All right, I got a few extra laps I could put in, and and I could come in and come out probably out before him. I probably could have did 2 or 3 more, and probably would have came out close to even. And from there, I would have had way fresher tires, and there was really nothing he could have do with that. I would have just been gone from there. So at least I stayed out as long as I felt I could, and I got into the pits actually real well. I got into the pit real well. I mean, any more, and I probably would have been in the grass. What I saw, felt. And when I came out, it was like 4 or 5 point something. I was like, wow, that was a good pit stop. So I was quite happy with that.
Definitely, I've seen you dominate before. Definitely won this race, dominating fashion. I think for you that is a maximum collection on points tonight. So we'll see how that looks next week. Want to congratulate you on your phenomenal job tonight. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I'm gonna thank you, Lucky Dog. I'd like to thank everybody out there for watching, and everybody to like, subscribe for this channel, like it. What else? I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year coming up, and thank you all, and God bless. Have a good night.
Well, thank you, Gary. And if we don't talk to you before then, hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a wonderful Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
All right, and I believe that'll conclude everything for the evening. Thank you for joining us, Lucky Dog Gen 6 Series here at Atlanta. Absolutely commanding finish by Gary Slipinski. I enjoyed watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed watching as well. Like he said, if you like what you see, give us a like, give us a subscribe, maybe give us a comment, tell us what you like, what you don't like. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And again, hope you all had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you all have a fantastic Happy New Year. And we will see you I believe we are going to have Open Wheels tomorrow night. And then you will hear from me again on Thursday for the Truck Series. Until then, have a good one.